Hello and welcome to another UCL Fantasy Team Selection video. This week we are looking at Matchday 6, which is the final matchday of the group stages and the final matchday we have to worry about before we get a full overhaul and can make unlimited transfers again. So as it is a one-off game week, we probably will see a lot of hits and of course a lot of rotation from the teams which are already qualified as well. So we are going to look at some rotation risks, some doubts and stuff with different players later on in the video, but for now we are going to start off with my current Matchday 5 team, which actually went not too bad. As you can see below me, I'm down to 12k. I think I was starting off Matchday 5 at about 10k, so it's a very small red arrow for me, but again I'm quite happy with the 71 points. I don't think it's the end of the world. No chips were played. In terms of rotation, there was a couple of players that did get rotated, the likes of Sommer, who stayed on my bench anyway, which was okay because Riznik ended up keeping a clean sheet. Other players, Baronetsia didn't really do too well. Kubo again didn't really do well. Some players that I maybe want to be looking to get out for Matchday 6, as it does look like a difficult game for them. But I think for this team, it went decently. It was another week where the defenders kind of carried the team a bit. I think that's 4 out of 5 or something match days now that my defence is really where a lot of my points have came from. Cancelo done very well, Saliba with a clean sheet, Molina with the clean sheet as well. So things have went well. And I've not really got anything to complain about too much in terms of the subs and stuff. I only really missed out on like a point or two, so it's really not the end of the world. Captaincies didn't go too well either, so considering I get 71 points is pretty good considering what kind of went on with other people in Matchday 5. But we are going to go look at some fixtures, some clean sheet odds, and then we'll look at some rotation as well before we jump into the actual team selection. So let's get straight into things. So fixtures for this week then, not a lot of kind of like green fixtures this week. We do have a lot of teams that do have a lot of difficult fixtures. But to be fair, a lot of the players we have right now, we have kind of set up to target those easier fixtures, the likes of Arsenal and Real Madrid and stuff. We should have at least 1 or 2 players from each of those teams. Inter as well, but even with some rotation and stuff, things aren't going as well with them. But in terms of like the clean sheet odds and stuff, Inter, Napoli, City, Atletico, like kind of teams that a lot of us will have defenders from anyway. It looks like it could be another good week for defences. The likes of Barcelona, Cancelo playing against Antwerp, you could get some points there. City, obviously, if you've got Rico Lewis, maybe you've got Ruben Diaz as well, more points. Atletico, Molina, etc. Inter, a lot of us still with Sommer, can really looking to maybe keep some clean sheets there as well. I think with Napoli as well, having Braga at home looking like one of the best fixtures of the match day. Someone like Di Lorenzo could be absolutely fantastic this week. He does pick up a lot of assists, and he did get an assist in Matchday 5 as well. So I think if you've got a defender who's maybe looking a bit rotation prone, I think Di Lorenzo could definitely be a very good one-off pick for this week. Obviously with Bayern and Man United playing against each other, in my opinion I think it's going to end up being a Man United win. They really have to win this game, and I think it's not even in their hands. I think if Copenhagen or Galatasaray win their game, they will go through, but Man United really have to come out for this one. And I do think with their recent form, the way just Man United works, I do think this is going to end up being one of these games that they end up going on to win. But in terms of Bayern, I don't think they are going to rotate too much, which is good news for us with like Kane, Sané, Coleman, etc. And there is a couple injuries which we'll cover in the next slide. But again, I don't think we really have to worry too much about the Bayern players. I don't think it's the end of the world. And Man United, again, they did just concede 3 goals to Bournemouth at the weekend. So in terms of the Bayern attack, even though it's away from home, I don't really think there's too much to worry about there. I think, again, Inter, they're joint with Sociedad at the top of the table, so there's not really going to be too much rotation there as well, because they are fighting for first place. I do think Inter probably will have their strongest 11 out, the same with Sociedad, who did rotate quite a lot last week. I do think in terms of the rotation, I think Leipzig might be one that rotate quite a lot. They are guaranteed second place now. They are playing against Young Boys at home, so we could possibly see rotation with them. City, again, could possibly see rotation. Real Madrid, possible as well, as they've also won the group. And Arsenal have a couple of injuries as well, which again we'll look at, but we could possibly see rotation with them, but we do see the lineups for the Arsenal game before we have to make any confirmations there, so always good there. But again, take a look at these clean sheet odds and stuff if you want to decide what defenders you want to go for. But let's jump straight into the availability section. So based on news from the last couple of days, this is what we've got. Of course, we do still have tomorrow where we'll get more predicted lineups, etc., and we can get a better view of what teams are going to rotate, etc. But based on Monday at 4:30, this is where we are, and this is the kind of news that we've got so far. So in terms of players out, Gnabry picked up an injury over the weekend. He came on in the 66th minute, and I think he came off 5 minutes later on the 71st, and it looks like he's going to be out for about 2 to 3 months. Which does make it look even better for the likes of Sané, who would maybe have been rotated for Gnabry anyway. And I think Bayern are going to play their strongest lineup. They're not going to want to get dominated by Man United, and they're going to try and make it as hard as possible for them to qualify. So I do think we are going to see a very strong Bayern lineup. In terms of the predicted lineups as well with Bayern so far, we do have Kane, Sané, Musiala and Coman as the front four. So I think things should be okay on the Bayern side, and it looks even better with Gnabry being out in terms of availability up front. Dumfries obviously still out. Barrenetsia picked up an injury quite early on a couple of games ago for Sociedad, and he looks like he's going to be out till January, so that is someone for me personally that I'm going to have to look at getting out. Mendes, I think, broke his arm at the weekend. It looked like a pretty horrible challenge. I think he put his arm down to fall and someone's kicked it right in, so he looks like he's going to be out for a decent while, and he is a very, very popular pick this year. One of the best midfielders so far in UCL fantasy, but he is going to be missing for Matchday 6. Romagnoli also out, Vinicius still out, Doku and Haaland also picking up injuries. I think Doku's is a muscle injury, and then Haaland obviously missing the Premier League game. Might end up being out for a wee while. We still don't really have exact news for him, but it looks like he's definitely going to be missing Tuesday. Ter Stegen's still out, he's going to be out for a couple months. So Peña, still a 4 million goalkeeper, still looks like a decent option for Barca if you need to get a different goalkeeper in. Lewandowski did miss out on the squad for Barca. They've released their squad list, and I did run out of space for this, but you can see in the rotated side there, Araujo and Gundogan also missed out on the squad, so they definitely aren't travelling, and they will be missing the team for Barcelona. In terms of doubts, Kepa still a doubt. Lunin has been playing in goals, but Kepa was back in the bench and he has travelled, so he may play in goals, but again, I would probably avoid that Real Madrid goalkeeper position because we don't really know which one of the two is going to play. Stengs has trained today, could play tomorrow, so we will see. Again, we can wait for more news on that, and I think that's Wednesday actually they play, so Tuesday is going to be the day for Feyenoord news. Hopefully we'll see what happens with Stengs. Patric, I think he's injured. I think he's back late December, didn't play over the weekend, so he looks like he will be a doubt and will probably miss the Atletico game. Rafael is still missing for AC Milan. I believe he missed the last game as well on Matchday 5. Ziyech, I believe the manager said it was a 50-50 whether he was going to play, and they're going to have to decide that in the morning. So if you're possibly considering Ziyech for the Copenhagen game, that's going to have to be one you look out for on Tuesday. Marcus Rashford missed training, I believe, today. Him and Ante Martial are doubts for tomorrow. Saka has a bit of an injury, the same with Martinelli. Martinelli isn't going to travel with the squad. Saka is going to travel, and I think with Saka's injury record he probably will end up playing, but just have to keep in mind that Arsenal have already won the group, so we may see some possible rotation with him. But again, we do get to see the lineups for Arsenal, so there's nothing really to worry about, and we can check that in the last hour. If a sub has to be made, a sub has to be made. In terms of rotation, again, I think Bayern will play their full team. They've got Kane and Sané. In terms of Man City, Foden and Alvarez, I think they should be locked in, to be honest, with Doku and Haaland out. Grealish could possibly play, so we could see Foden off the right possibly. Alvarez, I think, is basically guaranteed to play up front with Haaland out. I don't think they've got any other options there. I think Alvarez more locked in than Foden is, but I still think we'll see Foden play, and he has played all the previous Champions League games and he has done very well. I think with Leipzig guaranteed second place, I think Simmons and Rom could possibly be rotated. Again, they aren't in UEFA's predicted 11, and I think we could possibly see some heavy rotation with Leipzig. I think we've not really seen much of Openda in terms of news about him, but again, with them playing on Wednesday, that's going to have to be something that we look out for on Tuesday. And then, of course, Arujo, Gundogan, Martinelli all missing out, and Rudiger is expected to be rotated as well, with Nacho coming in to play centre-back. So based on everything that we have just went over, this is the team that I think I've got right now, basically. Obviously, we still have to wait on news. It is only Monday. This is the team that I'm expecting to go for going into match day 6. I'm looking to take a -4. Again, I think a -4, a -8 isn't too bad in match day 6. At the end of the day, if someone's not going to be playing, you take a -4. If they score basically more than 2 points, the hit's going to be worth it. And for me, I think if you want to take a -8, it's not the end of the world, especially in this match day where so many people are expected to be rotated. So basically, I've took out Haaland, of course. He's going to be missing the game, so we are looking for a different striker. I've got... I'm trying to remember who the other midfielder, Baronetsia, he's came out, was looking for an upgrade on him as he is so cheap, so Haaland coming out kind of works for me there. And I've got Henriks coming out as well in defence. I don't think he's going to play for Leipzig. He didn't play in the last match day. Again, if we get more news then maybe, but I do really want Di Lorenzo anyway, and I think that back line looks fantastic, and every single one of them are going to be playing anyway for all the teams in match day 6. Foden, I did want, and he has been doing fantastically. I've kind of missed out on his points recently. And then up front, I've went for Jesus, which leaves me a lot of players playing on Tuesday. The way this is, I've got 8 players playing on Tuesday, which is very ideal. But then I don't really have much of a captaincy for Wednesday. I'm really only left with Foden. And that's literally about it. Foden and Stengs, I think, are the only 2 out of the midfielders and attackers that play on Wednesday. So maybe if Jesus isn't playing, or maybe if we need to take another player out, if Stengs is confirmed out, if Saka's confirmed out, always get room to take another hit. I don't mind taking another hit, but I think other than Saka and Stengs, the rest of the team looks fine. Ideally, I would have liked to get Kubo out for another striker, but I think if he has travelled for Real Sociedad, and I think he should play anyway. So in terms of just getting players that are going to play, I'm happy to go with that. And if Kubo blanks, I can always transfer him out for someone on Wednesday. So I think this week in particular, you are going to want as many players playing on Tuesday as possible because of the rotation. So if there's any last minute rotation, you can just get them out for Wednesday players. If you've got a lot of Wednesday players in, you are kind of screwed if someone does get rotated, because then there's no backup option. At least if you pick someone on Tuesday, you can have that backup with the players playing on Wednesday. But again, with Haaland out, there is no obvious captain for the Wednesday game, so just make sure you do have someone covered for that. But again, in terms of like strikers, Openda is someone who I do really like, just don't know if he's going to be playing. Osimhen as well, I couldn't afford him with this, but Osimhen is another one that I would have really liked. I'm really considering Alvarez because that does cover the captaincy on Wednesday. The only problem is it does play on Wednesday. Obviously with Foden, I do need another midfielder anyway, but Alvarez and Galeno is another one that I was heavily considering. They just do play on Wednesday, and I'm trying to avoid the Wednesday players as much as possible. But if someone like Saka is confirmed out before when the lineups come out, then maybe Galeno is someone that I go to. But again, ideally I would like to have an attack of Kane, Osimhen, and then one of Jesus, Openda, and Alvarez. I think that's kind of where I'm at with the strikers. Midfielders, there doesn't really seem to be as many good options. I think with all the rotation and stuff planned, someone like Xavi Simons would have been a good option if you can guarantee that he's going to play. Galeno I do think is really good though. Porto have something to play for. Galeno is going to play. The only thing is he does play on Wednesday, so maybe if Foden's if City news comes out early and Foden is rumoured to be out, then maybe I'll go to Galeno instead. But that is currently where I'm at with the team. Again, if you are looking for any future updates, I will put out my team tomorrow, right before the deadline, and any other news and stuff that we do here on my Twitter, which is right up here if you want to go over there. The link will be in the description anyway. But that is the current team that I'm at as of Monday afternoon. So if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. If you get any questions about it or any more news, make sure to put it down in the comments and I'll get to it as soon as possible. So again, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.